I woke up because something felt off. You know that feeling. When your body knows something's wrong before your brain catches up. The bed was cold on her side. Not just empty cold, like nobody had been there all night. I am Marcus Hayes, 45 years old. Built a financial consulting firm from absolutely nothing. Started in my parents' garage in Brooklyn, worked my way up to a corner office in Manhattan with a view that costs more than most people's houses, $4 million in assets. A penthouse that gets featured in magazines. A wife who made other men turn their heads. Past tense on that last one. I was about to find out. I grabbed my phone off the nightstand. 6:47 am. 3 missed calls from Gerald, my accountant. Gerald never calls before 9 unless someone died or the IRS is knocking. My stomach dropped before I even listened to the voicemail. Marcus, it is Gerald. Pick up. Please pick up. It is about the accounts, all of them. Call me back the second you get this. His voice was shaking. Gerald doesn't shake. The man survived the 2008 crash without breaking a sweat. I called him back. He answered before the first ring finished. Marcus. Oh, thank God. Listen to me very carefully. Someone cleaned out every single account yesterday. The business accounts, the reserve funds, your personal checking, savings, everything. $4 million. Gone, transferred out between 2 and 6 p.m. yesterday while you were in that meeting with the Peterson Group. The room started spinning. I sat down on the edge of the bed because my legs just stopped working. What do you mean, gone? Banks don't just let $4 million walk out the door, Gerald. That is what I am trying to tell you. This wasn't a hack. Whoever did this had legitimate access. They had your authorization codes, digital signatures, security clearances, everything. This came from inside. Marcus, someone you gave access to. I already knew, deep down in that place where you keep the truths you don't want to look at. I already knew. Sofia, I said. It wasn't even a question. She is the only other person with that level of clearance. You added her as co-signatory 2 years ago during the expansion. Said you wanted her to feel like a full partner in everything. Yeah, I'd said that. I'd meant it too, every word. Don't call the police yet. I heard myself saying, give me 24 hours. Marcus, that is crazy. We need to. 24 hours, Gerald. Please, I need to understand what is happening here. After I hung up, I just sat there. Our bedroom looked the same as it always did. Expensive furniture, Sofia picked out. Art on the walls that cost more than my first car. Everything perfectly arranged, perfectly decorated, perfectly fate. We'd been married for 12 years, together for 13. I met her at some fancy charity thing in the Hamptons. She was standing by herself, looking bored out of her mind, and I liked that. Everyone else was trying so hard to look important. She just looked real. I walked up to her, said something stupid about the overpriced champagne. She laughed and said, finally, someone honest in a room full of liars. The irony of that is killing me right now. I loved her. God, I loved her. The way she'd curl up against me on Sunday mornings. How she remembered every single client's name and their kids' names and asked about them. The way she'd rub my shoulders when I came home stressed and wouldn't let me talk about work until I'd relaxed. All of it, every single moment. Was it all a lie? I found her laptop in the guest room. She'd left in such a hurry she didn't even close it. The screensaver was still running, some slideshow of our vacation photos. Us in Paris. US in Santorini. US looking so damn happy. I clicked the mouse. No password lock. Her email was right there. Open. I am not proud of what I did next. But when someone steals $4 million from you, privacy kind of goes out the window. The first email I saw was from 3 days ago. Subject line, final transfer confirmed. My hand started shaking before I even opened it. Vev, Everything's clear. The last $600K cleared this morning. Marcus still doesn't suspect a thing. Poor baby's been so stressed about the Peterson deal, he barely notices I exist anymore. We're set for tomorrow night, 9 p.m. at Russo's, just like we planned. I can't wait to finally be done hiding, to finally be with you for real. No more sneaking around. No more pretending I am the devoted wife. Just you, me, and enough money to disappear forever. All my love I read it 3 times. Then 4. The words didn't change. There was someone else. Of course there was someone else. Because stealing $4 million wasn't enough of a betrayal, I scrolled down, more emails, dozens of them. Going back months, Viv kept saying things like, "Be patient and stick to the plan, and he'll never see it coming." Sofia kept writing back about how much she loved him, how she couldn't wait to leave, how she was so tired of pretending to care about Marcus and his boring business talk. That one hit different. Boring business talk. That boring business talk paid for every designer dress in her closet, every spa day, every girl's trip to Miami. But the worst part? The part that made me want to put my fist through the wall. In one email from 6 months ago, V wrote, "Your husband's a smart guy, successful. But he is soft, Sofia. He trusts too much. That is why this is going to work. Men like him never expect the people they love to hurt them." Sofia's response: "I know. Sometimes I almost feel bad. But then I remember the account balance, and I get over it." LOL, she laughed about it. I closed the laptop before I smashed it. My phone buzzed. Text message from Sofia. "Morning, babe. Stayed at Jenny's last night. She was having a crisis. You know how she gets. Home around noon. Love you, Jenny. Her best friend since college." I'd met Jenny exactly twice in 12 years. Both times Sofia made excuses to leave early. I texted back, "No problem. Take your time." My fingers were steady typing that. Strange how you can fall apart inside while your hands keep working just fine. I needed to know who Vo was. Moretti, the email had said. Russo's restaurant, 9 p.m. reservation under Moretti. Vincent Moretti. The name rang a bell, a distant, uncomfortable bell. I pulled up Google on my phone and typed it in. The results made my blood run cold. Vincent Moretti, 48 years old, known associate of the Castellano crime family, suspected of money laundering, racketeering, loan sharking, multiple arrests, 0 convictions. The articles all described him the same way: charming, dangerous, untouchable. There were photos. Him leaving courthouses in expensive suits, always smiling like he didn't have a care in the world. Him at fancy restaurants with beautiful women. Him shaking hands with people who looked like they'd rather be anywhere else. My wife was having an affair with a mobster who helped her steal $4 million from me. I sat there on our bed, in our penthouse, that suddenly felt like a museum of lies, and tried to process this. This wasn't just betrayal. This was calculated, planned. They'd been working together for months, maybe longer. Every time she said she loved me, every time she kissed me goodbye in the morning, every time she asked how my day was, she was thinking about him. About the money, about getting away. The phone rang. Jake, my son, 23 years old, just graduated from Columbia Business School. My pride and joy. "Hey Dad, quick question. Mom called me last night, said she needed to borrow 20 grand. Something about a surprise she is planning for your anniversary. Is that cool? I've got it in savings from that signing bonus." My anniversary. Next month, 12 years. "Don't give her anything," I said. My voice sounded weird. Flat. "What? Dad, are you okay?" "Jake, listen to me. Don't give your mother any money. Don't give her access to any of your accounts. And don't tell her I said this." Silence on the other end. Then, "Dad, what is going on?" I can't explain right now. Just trust me. Can you do that? Yeah, of course. But you are scaring me. I know. I am scared too. I'll call you later. I hung up before he could ask more questions. Emma, my daughter, was studying law at NYU, 21 years old. Smart as hell. She'd figure this out the second I told her. But I couldn't tell her yet. Couldn't tell anyone yet. Because here is what I understood in that moment. Sitting in that expensive bedroom, surrounded by expensive lies. If I went to the police right now, Vincent Moretti would disappear. Men like him always do. They have lawyers, connections, ways to make evidence vanish. And Sofia would play the victim, the poor wife who didn't know what she was doing, who was manipulated by a dangerous man, who deserves sympathy, not jail time. Number I needed proof, real, undeniable, caught red-handed proof. I looked at Sofia's laptop again. The email about Russo's tonight. 9 p.m. They were meeting tonight. To celebrate, probably, to toast their success. To plan their escape. I smiled. It wasn't a happy smile. They thought I was soft. They thought I'd never see it coming. They were about to find out how wrong they were. I spent the day making calls. Quiet calls. Careful calls. First, I called an old college buddy, Tom Chen, who worked for the FBI. We'd been roommates freshman year, stayed in touch over the years. He'd made it pretty high up in the financial crimes division. Tom, I need advice, off the record. Marcus, man, it has been months. What is up? If someone close to you stole a significant amount of money and you suspected organized crime involvement, what would you do? Long pause. How significant are we talking? 4 million. He whistled low. And you said organized crime, potentially. Marcus, if this is what I think it is, you need to come in officially. We can help you. Not yet. I need 24 hours to get solid proof. Then I'll bring you everything. This is dangerous. If you are dealing with who I think you are dealing with, I know. But I need proof first. They're meeting tonight. 9 p.m. at Russo's in Tribeca. If I can record that meeting, get them on tape talking about the money. Tom was quiet for a long time. Then you are talking about wiretapping. That is illegal without a warrant. Marcus. I am talking about sitting in a public restaurant with my phone's voice recorder on. That is legal in New York, right? One-party consent state. Technically, yes, if you are part of the conversation. But Marcus, I'll call you tomorrow with everything. I promise. I hung up before he could argue. Next call was to my lawyer, David Rothstein, 50-year-old guy who'd handled everything for my company since the beginning. David, hypothetically, if my spouse cleaned out our joint accounts, what is my legal standing? Jesus, Marcus, hypothetically. Just answer the question. Joint accounts mean joint access. Legally, she has every right to withdraw funds. It is only theft if it is solely in your name and she forged signatures. But you'd need proof of criminal intent, fraud, conspiracy. Without that, it is a civil matter at best. You'd lose years and a fortune in legal fees. What if there was criminal conspiracy? What if she was working with someone with a criminal record? Then we're talking RICO charges potentially. Federal prosecution. But again, you'd need ironclad proof. These cases are notoriously hard to prove. What if I recorded them discussing it? Long silence. In New York, that is admissible. But Marcus, what the hell is going on? I'll explain everything soon. Just be ready. I might need you to move fast. The rest of the day crawled by. I went to the office, sat through meetings, nodded at the right times. Nobody noticed I was dying inside. That is the thing about being successful. People assume you are fine. That money makes you bulletproof. At 7 p.m., I left the office, told my assistant I had dinner plans. I drove home, changed into casual clothes. Jeans, a plain black shirt, a jacket. Nothing that would stand out. Then I drove to Tribeca. Russo's was the kind of place where entrees cost more than some people's rent. Dim lighting, private booths, waiters who moved like ghosts. The perfect place for secret meetings. I got there at 8:30, parked across the street where I could see the entrance. My phone was charged, voice recorder app ready, hands steady. At 8:55, a black Mercedes pulled up. Sofia stepped out. She looked incredible. Red dress I'd never seen before, hair and makeup perfect. She looked happy, excited. A man got out of the driver's side. Tall, dark hair going silver at the temples. Expensive suit, handsome in that dangerous way. Vincent Moretti. He put his hand on the small of her back. She leaned into him, said something that made him laugh. They kissed, right there on the street. Not a quick peck. A real kiss. The kind that says I love you without words. Something in my chest cracked. Actually cracked, like a bone breaking. I watched them walk into the restaurant together. Watched her smile up at him like he hung the moon. 12 years of marriage. And she looked happier with him in that one moment than I'd ever seen her look with me. I gave them 5 minutes to get settled. Then I walked in. The hostess smiled. "Good evening, sir. Do you have a reservation? I am meeting someone." "Moretti, party? Of course, right this way." She led me through the restaurant. Past couples, having romantic dinners. Past business meetings over wine. To a private booth in the back. Sofia saw me first. The color drained from her face, like someone pulled a plug. Vincent turned, saw me, and smiled. Actually smiled. "Marcus Hayes," he said. "Like we were old friends. We've been expecting you." And that is when I realized this wasn't going to go the way I'd planned. Not even close. Those 4 words hung in the air like smoke from a gun. Vincent Moretti sat there, relaxed as hell, one arm stretched across the back of the booth. Sofia was pressed against the opposite side, looking like she wanted to disappear into the leather. "Sit down, Marcus," Vincent said, gesturing to the empty space beside him. "We should talk." I didn't move. Couldn't move. My brain was trying to catch up to what was happening. "You knew I was coming." Vincent laughed, not mean, not mocking, just genuinely amused. "Of course I knew. You think I got where I am by being stupid. The second Sofia's laptop stayed at the penthouse, I knew you'd find the emails. The second Gerald called you this morning, I knew you'd start digging. And the second you called your FBI buddy Tom Chen, I definitely knew you'd show up here." My blood went cold. "How do you know about Tom?" "Please. I've had people watching you all day. That is business 101. Marcus, know your opponent." He picked up his wine glass, swirled it. "You parked across the street at 8:30 black. Audie, you've been sitting there for 25 minutes working up the courage to come inside. You are wearing a jacket with your phone in the inside pocket. Probably recording this conversation right now." He was right. My phone was recording. Had been since I walked in. So what now? My voice came out steadier than I expected. "You kill me. Make me disappear. Isn't that what guys like you do?" Vincent set down his wine glass and looked at me like I'd disappointed him. "Guys like me. Marcus, I am a businessman. I deal in opportunities, investments, strategic partnerships. Your wife came to me 6 months ago with a business proposal. She had access to $4 million and needed help moving it offshore. I provided that service for a 30% fee. That is not personal. That is business, busyness." The word tasted like poison in my mouth. "You helped my wife rob me, and you are calling it business." "She didn't rob you." Vincent leaned forward. "According to New York state law, Joint accounts mean joint ownership. Sofia had every legal right to transfer that money. Now, was it ethical? That is between you and her, but legally, clean as a whistle. I looked at Sofia. She was staring at her hands, wouldn't meet my eyes. Look at me, I said. She didn't. Sofia. Look at me, she finally raised her head. Her eyes were red, but no tears. Just red. Like she'd been rubbing them, trying to manufacture emotion that wasn't there. Why? It was all I could ask, all I could manage, because I was tired, she said quietly. Tired of being Mrs. Marcus Hayes. Tired of smiling at your boring clients. Tired of pretending I cared about quarterly earnings and stock options. Tired of sleeping next to a man who loved his business more than he ever loved me. Each word was a knife. Precise, intentional. I gave you everything, I said. You gave me things. There is a difference. She took a breath. When's the last time you asked me how I was doing? Really asked, not just, how was your day, while checking your phone. When's the last time you took a vacation where you didn't spend half of it on conference calls? When's the last time you looked at me, really looked at me, and saw a person instead of a wife? I wanted to argue, wanted to tell her she was wrong. But something in her eyes stopped me, because maybe she wasn't completely wrong. So you decided to steal $4 million and run off with a mobster. The anger in my voice surprised even me. That was your solution. Vincent's not a mobster. He is a businessman. He is in the Castellano crime family. Sofia, I Googled him. Multiple arrests for money laundering and racketeering. Vincent held up a hand. Multiple arrests, 0 convictions. Important distinction, and for the record, I am a legitimate consultant. Now those days are behind me, right? Sure, a legitimate consultant who helps wives steal from their husbands. A financial advisor who helps people move assets efficiently. He smiled. Semantics. The waiter appeared, hovering nervously. Is everything all right here? Fine, Vincent said without looking at him. Give us a few more minutes. The waiter vanished. I turned back to Sofia and us 12 years. Did any of it mean anything? For the first time, something real flickered across her face. Guilt, maybe, or regret. Hard to tell. At first it did. I really did love you, Marcus. Young, ambitious Marcus who worked 18-hour days and still found time to bring me coffee in bed on Sundays. But you changed. The business grew and you disappeared into it. By year 5, I felt like a roommate. By year 10, I felt invisible. So you met him. I nodded toward Vincent. I met him at a charity fundraiser 8 months ago. He was charming, attentive, present. He asked about my life, my dreams, what I wanted, and he actually listened to the answers. Vincent smiled slightly. She is a remarkable woman, beautiful, intelligent, wasted on a man who took her for granted. That is when something clicked. The way he said it, the way he looked at her. You love her, I said. It wasn't a question. Vincent's smile faded. For the first time, he looked serious. I do. More than I've loved anyone in 20 years. Sofia didn't come to me just for the money, Marcus. She came to me because she wanted out, wanted a life, and I am giving her that. The first knife twisted in my chest. My wife had been stolen. Yes, but she'd wanted to be stolen. So what happens now? I asked. You two ride off into the sunset with my money. Our money, Sofia corrected. Joint accounts, remember, fine. Our money. What about Jake and Emma? You are just going to disappear on your own, kids? Her face went pale. I was going to reach out once we were settled. Explain everything. Explain what? That their mother's a thief who ran off with a criminal. Watch your mouth. Vincent's voice went cold, dangerous. Sofia's not a thief. And I told you, I am a legitimate businessman now, right? And I am supposed to believe that. Believe what you want. But here is the truth. Tomorrow morning, Sofia and I are flying to the Cayman Islands. We've got a house waiting, accounts set up, new identities if we need them. You can call the FBI, call the police, call whoever you want. By the time they finish the paperwork, we'll be gone. And like I said, legally Sofia did nothing wrong. She moved money from a joint account. That is it. The second knife twisted. They'd thought of everything. Every loophole, every legal protection. But here is what I don't understand. I said, looking at Vincent. Why are you even telling me this? Why not just disappear without this little meeting? Vincent picked up his wine again. Professional courtesy. Sofia felt guilty about the way this ended. Wanted to give you closure. Personally, I thought it was a bad idea. But when a woman like this asks for something, he shrugged. You try to give it to her, how thoughtful. I said flatly. Sofia finally looked at me directly. Marcus, I am sorry. I know you won't believe that, but I am. You are a good man. You deserved better than this. But I couldn't stay in that life anymore. I was dying inside, piece by piece, and you never even noticed. Maybe she was right. Maybe I had been blind. But that didn't make this hurt any less. So that is it, I said. 12 years, and this is how it ends. In a restaurant in Tribeca, with you telling me it is my fault, you robbed me. I am not saying it is your fault. I am saying we both failed. You failed to see me. I failed to tell you I was drowning, and now it is too late. The third knife started to sink in, and I wasn't even sure where it was coming from yet. Vincent checked his watch. We should wrap this up. Flights at 6 a.m. Still need to pack. One more question, I said. My voice sounded distant, like it belonged to someone else. How long have you two been sleeping together? Sofia's eyes dropped. Marcus. How long? 6 months, Vincent answered when she didn't. Since about 2 weeks after we met. And before you ask, yes, it is serious. I am not just some fling. I am in love with her, planning to marry her once your divorce is finalized. And there it was. The third knife, sinking all the way to the handle. It wasn't just that my wife had betrayed me. Wasn't just that she'd stolen $4 million. It was that she'd found someone else. Someone she loved. Someone she was choosing over me. Over our life, over everything we'd built. That was somehow worse than all of it. I stood up. My legs felt like water, but they held. I hope you are both very happy, I said. I meant it to sound sarcastic, cutting. Instead, it just sounded sad. Sofia opened her mouth like she wanted to say something, changed her mind, closed it. Vincent raised his wine glass. No hard feelings, Marcus. Really, in another life, we might have been friends. I walked out of that restaurant in a daze. The recording on my phone was still running. But what good was it? Vincent was right. Everything Sofia did was technically legal. I'd given her access to those accounts. Joint ownership meant she could do whatever she wanted with the money. I'd lost. Completely. Totally. $4 million. My wife, 12 years of my life, gone. I sat in my car for an hour. Just sat there, engine off, staring at nothing. My phone rang. Tom Chen, my FBI buddy. Marcus, you okay? You'd call? I am fine. I lied. Did you get your proof? Yeah, I got it. But it doesn't matter. She had legal access to everything. There is no case. What about the organized crime connection? He claims he is legitimate now. And honestly, Tom, I don't even care anymore. I just want this to be over. Silence on his end. Then, Marcus, I need to tell you something. About Vincent Moretti. I don't want to hear it. You need to hear it. He is not who he says he is. Something in Tom's voice made me pay attention. What do you mean? Vincent Moretti is currently under federal investigation. Has been for 3 years. Money laundering, racketeering, ties to the Castellano family. But we've never been able to make anything stick because he is smart. Really smart. He has got lawyers, shell companies, people willing to take the fall for him. Tom, I appreciate this, but there is more. 6 months ago, one of his ex-girlfriends came forward. Woman named Rachel Chen. Used to work for him, then got out. She has been helping us build a case. And Marcus, one of the things she told us is that Vincent has a pattern. He targets wealthy men with unhappy wives, befriends the wives, romances them, convinces them to drain their husband's accounts, then disappears with the money. Your wife isn't the first, Marcus. She is the fourth. The world stopped. What? Vincent Moretti is a con artist. He has been running this scam for 5 years. 3 other men before you, all successful businessmen, all lost everything. The wives all thought it was real love. Turns out Vincent dumps them after 6 months and keeps the money. My hands were shaking. Sofia doesn't know. Number, she thinks she is special. They all did. He is going to rob her too. Yep, and there is nothing she can do about it because technically, she gave him the money willingly. I thought about Sofia in that restaurant. The way she looked at Vincent, the love in her eyes, she had no idea she was being played. Part of me wanted to feel satisfaction. She'd betrayed me, and now she was about to get betrayed. Karma. But mostly I just felt sick. Tom, what do I do? Officially. Nothing. We don't have enough to arrest him yet. But Marcus, if you could get him to confess on tape, admit to the con, that would change everything. That would give us everything we need. How am I supposed to do that? They're flying to the Cayman Islands tomorrow. Then you've got 12 hours. I hung up and sat there thinking. Vincent Moretti thought he'd won. Thought he'd pulled off the perfect con. Sofia thought she'd found true love and a new life. They were both wrong. And I was about to prove it. I called David, my lawyer. I need you to do something. Tonight, right now. Marcus, it is 11 p.m. I need you to freeze every joint account I have with Sofia. Call the banks, invoke the fraud investigation clause. Whatever you have to do. I want every penny locked down by midnight. Marcus, if she has legal access, just do it. Trust me. By tomorrow morning, I'll have proof of fraud. Real fraud. But I need those accounts frozen first. This is highly irregular. David, please. He sighed. I'll make the calls. Next, I called Tom back. Tell me about Rachel Chen, Vincent's ex. What about her? Is she willing to help? Depends. Help with what? With destroying Vincent Moretti. Tom was quiet for a moment. Then, I'll set up a meeting. Tomorrow morning, 7 a.m., FBI field office in Manhattan. I'll be there. I drove home to my empty penthouse. Walked through rooms full of expensive furniture and expensive lies. In our bedroom, I found Sofia's laptop still open. Read through more emails. Found flight confirmations for tomorrow, 6 a.m. to Georgetown, Cayman Islands. Found hotel reservations, car rentals, bank account numbers. Found an email from Vincent to Sofia from 3 days ago. Can't wait to start our new life together. Baby, just you, me, and 4 million reasons to smile. You made the right choice leaving Marcus. He never deserved you. I screenshot everything, sent it all to Tom. Then I lay down on my bed in my empty penthouse and stared at the ceiling until the sun came up. At 6:30 a.m., I was in Tom's office at the FBI field office. He was there with a woman about 40 years old, Chinese-American, sharp eyes. Severe haircut. Marcus Hayes, meet Rachel Chen, Tom said. Rachel didn't smile. Tom tells me you want to take down Vincent. I do. Why revenge? Partly. But mostly because my wife has no idea what she has gotten into. And 4 other women before her got conned the same way. Someone needs to stop him. Rachel studied me for a long moment. Then nodded. Okay. I am in. What is your plan? I pulled out my phone, showed her the screenshots, the flight information. Their flight leaves at 6 a.m. But knowing Vincent, he'll want to stop somewhere first. Probably his office to pick up final documents. Maybe make one last withdrawal from some account I don't know about. His office is in Midtown, Rachel said. 42nd Street. I worked there for 2 years. Can you get us in? Maybe. But Marcus, if we're going to do this, we need to do it right. We need him to confess everything on tape, and we need Sofia to hear it. She needs to know who he really is. How Rachel smiled for the first time. It wasn't a nice smile. I have an idea, but you are not going to like it. She was right. I didn't like it, but I also didn't have a better option. Rachel's plan was insane, but insane was all I had left. Vincent's flying out at 6 a.m., she said, spreading papers across Tom's desk. But he always makes one last stop. Always. It is his ritual. He goes to his office, transfers the final chunk of money to his personal offshore account, then heads to the airport. How do you know? I asked. Her jaw tightened because I was wife number 2 5 years ago. Vincent romanced me, convinced me to drain my ex-husband's accounts, promised me forever. We got to the Cayman Islands, and he dumped me at the hotel. Took everything. Left me with nothing but a plane ticket home and a broken heart. The room went quiet. I am sorry, I said. Don't be sorry. Get even. She looked at me hard. That is what I've been doing for 5 years. Building a case, gathering evidence, waiting for the perfect moment. And Marcus, you are that moment. Because unlike the other wives, Sofia's rich husband is still standing, still has resources, still has fight. Tom leaned forward. Rachel's been working with us, but we've never had enough for an arrest warrant. Vincent's too careful. But if we can get him on tape admitting the con, admitting he has done this before, that is conspiracy, fraud, Rhode Island co-charges 20 years minimum. What do you need me to do? I asked. Rachel pulled out a small device, smaller than a quarter. Wear this. It is a wire. FBI grade, completely undetectable. You are going to walk into Vincent's office this morning and confront him. He'll throw me out. No, he won't, because you are going to tell him that you froze all the accounts, that the $4 million is locked down, and the only person who can unlock it is you. I stared at her. He'll kill me. He won't. Vincent doesn't get his hands dirty. He is a con artist, not an enforcer. The second things get violent. He runs. But money. Money he'll negotiate for. Tom added, we'll have agents outside the building. Snipers on rooftops. You'll be wearing a tracker. The second we hear anything that sounds like a threat, we breach the door. And Sofia, I asked. What about her? Rachel's smile was cold. Sofia's going to learn exactly who she fell in love with. We're going to make sure of it. At 7:15 a.m. I was standing outside Vincent's office building on 42nd Street. Midtown Manhattan was just waking up. Coffee carts on corners, early commuters rushing to work. The wire was taped to my chest. My heart was pounding so hard I was sure it would show up on the recording. Tom's voice crackled in the tiny earpiece they'd given me. We're in position. 6 agents in the building. 4 outside. You are not alone, Marcus. I took a breath and walked in. The lobby was empty except for a security guard who barely looked up from his phone. I took the elevator to the 14th floor. Vincent's office was at the end of the hall. Frosted glass doors with gold lettering, Moretti Consulting Group. I pushed through. The reception area was empty, but I heard voices from the inner office. Vincent's voice smooth and confident, and Sofia's laughing at something he'd said. I walked straight to the door and opened it. They were standing by the window, coffee cups in hand, looking out at the Manhattan skyline. Sofia was wearing the same red dress from last night. Vincent had his arm around her waist. They both turned when I walked in. Marcus. Sofia's face went white. What are you doing here? Vincent's expression didn't change. I thought we said our goodbyes last night. We did. But something came up. I pulled out my phone, showed them a screenshot of the frozen account notification. Every joint account I had with Sofia, frozen. As of midnight last night, fraud investigation. Sofia's coffee cup slipped from her hand. It shattered on the marble floor, spreading dark liquid across white stone. What did you do? She whispered. What I should have done months ago. Protected my assets. Vincent's smile finally cracked. That is not possible. Joint accounts can't be frozen without both parties present. They can if one party provides evidence of fraudulent activity. And guess what? I spent all night digging through financial records. Found some very interesting transfers. Money moving through shell corporations, offshore accounts. All with your signature, Vincent. All technically illegal under the Patriot Act. That was a bluff. I had no idea if it was illegal, but Vincent's face told me I'd hit something real. You are lying, he said. But his voice wasn't confident anymore. Am I? Call your bank. Check the accounts. I'll wait. Vincent pulled out his phone, dialed. His face went from tan to gray in about 30 seconds. What do you mean the account's been frozen? He said into the phone. On whose authority? Long pause. His eyes cut to me. I see. No, don't do anything yet. I'll handle it. He hung up. Sofia was staring at him. Vincent, what is going on? Nothing, baby. Just a minor complication. We'll work it out. Minor. I laughed. It sounded harsh even to my own ears. Vincent, you just lost access to $4 million. I'd call that major, temporarily lost access. This is fixable, is it? Because I spoke to the FBI this morning. They're very interested in your business practices. Something about a pattern of behavior involving wealthy men and their wives. Vincent's eyes went dangerous. You need to leave now. Or what? You'll have me killed. That is not your style, is it, Vincent? You prefer the long con. The subtle manipulation. Getting other people to destroy themselves while you walk away clean. Sofia was looking between us, confused. Marcus, what are you talking about? Ask him, I said, not taking my eyes off Vincent. Ask him about Rachel Chen. Vincent's face went completely blank, professional mask, but I saw the flicker, the moment of recognition. Who is Rachel Chen? Sofia asked. Nobody, Vincent said quickly. An old employee, ancient history. She is wife number 2, I said. 5 years ago, Vincent did the same thing to her that he is doing to you. Romanced her, convinced her to drain her husband's accounts, promised her forever, then dumped her in the Cayman Islands and took all the money. That is a lie, Vincent said. But his voice was thin. Is it? What about Jennifer Morrison, wife number 1, 7 years ago? Or Susan Park, 3 years ago? Or Caroline Westbrook, 18 months ago? Should I keep going? Sofia's face was crumbling. Vincent, tell me he is lying. He is lying. Marcus is desperate, baby. He is trying to turn you against me because he can't accept that you chose me over him. I have photos, I said. pulling out my phone again. All 4 women, all married to wealthy men, all bankrupted, all abandoned. There is a pattern here, Sofia, and you are the latest mark. I showed her the phone. Rachel had given me everything. Photos of Vincent with other women, police reports, court documents. Sofia's hands were shaking as she looked through them. This can't be real. Vincent loves me, he said. He says that to everyone. I interrupted. It is part of the con. Make you feel special. Make you feel seen. Convince you to betray your husband, take the money, and then disappear. Enough! Vincent's voice cracked like a whip. You don't know what you are talking about, Marcus. Those women were different. What Sofia and I have is real. Then prove it, I said. The accounts are frozen. The money's locked. If you really love her, you'll stay. You'll work through this. You'll face the investigation with her. Vincent's eyes shifted, just for a second, toward the door, and Sofia saw it. You were going to run, she said quietly. Weren't you, baby? No, you were going to take the money and run. That is why you wanted to leave so early. That is why you've been rushing me all morning. Sofia, listen to me. How long? Her voice was getting louder. How long were you planning to stay with me in the Cayman Islands before you disappeared? Forever. I was planning forever. Liar, she was screaming now. You are a liar. Everything you said was a lie. Vincent grabbed her arm. Calm down. You are being hysterical. Don't touch me. She ripped her arm away. Marcus is telling the truth, isn't he? This was all a con. I was just another mark. Vincent's mask finally fell away completely. What was underneath was cold, calculating, nothing like the charming man from the restaurant. You want the truth, Sofia. Fine. Yes, this was a con. Yes, I've done it before. And yes, I was planning to dump you in about 6 months, once I'd squeezed every last penny out of your accounts. You were easy, so desperate for attention, so eager to believe someone actually wanted you. It was almost boring how simple you made it. Sofia's face shattered, actually shattered, like watching glass break in slow motion. But here is what you don't understand, Marcus, Vincent continued, turning to me. I don't need your $4 million. I have 12 other accounts, $30 million spread across 14 countries. This was just a game, another score. And you think freezing some accounts is going to stop me? He laughed. I'll be in Buenos Aires by tomorrow. New name, new face, new life, and neither of you can do a damn thing about it. That is where you are wrong, said a voice from the doorway. Rachel Chen walked in. Behind her, 4 FBI agents in tactical gear. Vincent's face went from cold to panicked in half a second. Rachel, he breathed. Hi, Vincent, long time. She held up a recording device. We got everything. Every word. Confession to fraud, conspiracy, money laundering. That is 25 years minimum. Federal prison. No parole. You are wearing a wire. Vincent looked at me, betrayed. Like I was the one who'd done something wrong. I learned from the best, I said. Always know your opponent, right? That is business 101. The FBI agents moved in. One of them started reading Vincent his rights while another put him in handcuffs. This isn't over, Vincent shouted as they dragged him toward the door. I have lawyers, connections. You think you can? Save it for the judge, Tom Chen said, walking in behind Rachel. We've been building this case for 5 years. Vincent. We have testimony from 4 victims, financial records from 12 countries, and now a recorded confession. You are done. They hauled him out, his expensive shoes squeaking on the marble floor, his voice echoing down the hallway until an elevator door closed and cut him off. The office went quiet. Sofia was sitting on the floor, her back against the wall, staring at nothing, mascara running down her face in black rivers. I sat down next to her, not close enough to touch, just close enough to be there. "He never loved me," she said. It wasn't a question. Number and I threw away 12 years of marriage for a con artist. She looked at me. Really looked at me. "I am sorry, Marcus. God, I am so sorry. I ruined everything. I destroyed us. And for what? For a lie." I wanted to be angry. Wanted to yell at her, tell her she deserved this, make her feel as small as she'd made me feel, but looking at her sitting there completely broken, I just felt tired. "Why'd you do it, Sofia? Really? Was it just the money?" She shook her head. "I felt invisible, like I didn't matter, like I was just an accessory to your life. And Vincent made me feel seen, made me feel important. I know that sounds stupid now, but at the time she trailed off. I was so desperate to feel something that I convinced myself his lies were truth. I wasn't a perfect husband, I admitted. I worked too much, paid more attention to the business than to you. I am not blameless here, but I committed fraud. Marcus, I helped a criminal. I betrayed you in every possible way." She wiped her eyes. "What happens now? Do I go to jail too?" Rachel walked over, crouched down to Sofia's level. "That depends. You were a victim of a con, but you also knowingly participated in moving funds. The DA might offer a deal if you testify against Vincent Community Service Probation. Maybe. And if I don't testify, then you are looking at potential charges: conspiracy, fraud, money laundering. Could be 5 to 10 years. Sofia closed her eyes. "I'll testify, I'll tell them everything." Tom handed her his card. "Call this number tomorrow. Ask for the district attorney's office. They'll work something out." The FBI agents filtered out one by one. Rachel paused at the door, looked back at me. "Thank you," she said, "for helping take him down." "Thank you," I replied, "for giving me the tools to fight back." She nodded and left, which left just me and Sofia in Vincent's empty office. "Where do we go from here?" she asked quietly. I stood up, looked out the window at Manhattan waking up. The sun was fully up now, turning the glass buildings into mirrors of gold. "I don't know," I said honestly. "The accounts are frozen pending investigation. You'll probably have to give back whatever money you spent. We'll have to file for divorce eventually. You'll testify, do your time, whatever the DA decides. And us, is there any chance?" The word came out harder than I intended. "Sofia, you didn't just betray me. You showed me that the woman I loved never really existed. You were playing a role for 12 years, and the second someone offered you a better script, you jumped ship. I can't come back from that." She nodded, started crying again. "I understand." I walked to the door, stopped, turned back. "For what it is worth, I did love you, the version of you I thought I knew. That was real for me, even if it wasn't for you." "It was real for me too," she said. "At first, before I let myself forget." I left her there, took the elevator down, walked out into the bright morning. Tom was waiting on the sidewalk. "You okay?" "Not even a little bit, but I will be." "What is next for you?" I thought about it. "First, I am going to call my kids. Tell them everything. Then I am going to fix my business, rebuild what I can. And after that," I smiled, "I have no idea, but at least I am free." 3 months later, I was sitting in a coffee shop in Brooklyn when my phone rang, unknown number. "Hello, Mr. Hayes. This is Assistant District Attorney Morrison. I am handling the Moretti case. I wanted to update you on the proceedings." "Go ahead." Vincent Moretti was convicted on all counts, 28 years federal prison. No possibility of parole for 15 years. We also managed to recover approximately $18 million from his offshore accounts. That money will be distributed to his victims. and Sofia. Mrs. Hayes cooperated fully. In exchange for her testimony, she has been sentenced to 2 years probation and 500 hours community service. No jail time. She is also required to repay the full amount taken from your accounts. How much did she spend? About $600,000. The rest we recovered. You'll get it back within 90 days. $3.4 million. Not the full $4 million, but close enough. Thank you, I said. There is one more thing. The FBI asked me to pass along a message from Rachel Chen. She said to tell you that karma is slow, but it is thorough. I smiled, tell her I said thanks. After I hung up, I sat there with my coffee, watching people walk by outside, every one of them carrying their own problems, their own betrayals, their own broken hearts. My phone buzzed. Text from Emma, my daughter. Dad, Jake and I want to take you to dinner tomorrow. Our treat, we've been terrible children, and we want to make it up to you. I'd told them everything the day after Vincent's arrest. They'd been horrified, apologetic, angry at Sofia and themselves for not seeing it. We'd been having dinner once a week since then, slowly rebuilding what had been broken. I texted back, sounds perfect, pick the place. Another buzz, this one from an email. Subject, job opportunity. I opened it. It was from a venture capital firm in Boston. They'd heard about how I'd helped take down Vincent Moretti and were impressed with my investigative skills and business acumen. They were offering me a position as a fraud consultant. 6-figure salary, flexible hours, interesting work. I stared at the email for a long time. A year ago, I'd had $4 million, a wife, a life I thought was perfect. Then I'd lost everything, been betrayed in every way possible, hit rock bottom so hard I thought I'd never get up. But I did get up, and in the process, I discovered something important. The things that matter most can't be stolen. My integrity, my resilience, my ability to fight back even when the world tried to crush me. Vincent had taken my money and my wife, but he hadn't taken my soul. And Sofia, she'd broken my heart, but she'd also taught me something valuable. That love without truth is just a pretty lie, and I deserved better than pretty lies. I hit reply on the email. I am interested. Let's talk. My phone rang again. This time I recognized the number. David, my lawyer. Marcus, good news. The divorce was finalized today. You are officially single, and the judge ruled in your favor on the assets. You keep the penthouse, the company, everything except what Sofia spent. She has to sell her car to help pay restitution. How is she? I asked. Does it matter? Yeah, it does. David sighed. She is living with her sister in Queens, working as a receptionist at a dental office. She is broke, humiliated, and alone. Exactly what she deserves. Maybe. But I didn't feel satisfaction hearing it. Just sadness. Thanks for everything, David. Anytime. You are a good man. Marcus, you are going to land on your feet. After we hung up, I finished my coffee, watched the sun start to set over Brooklyn. The sky turned orange, then pink, then purple. My life hadn't turned out the way I'd planned. The woman I'd loved had betrayed me. The future I'd imagined had burned to ash. But I was still here, still standing, still breathing. And tomorrow, I'd wake up and start building something new. Something real. Something that couldn't be stolen. Because at 45 years old, I'd learned the most important lesson of my life. You can take everything from a man, his money, his wife, his pride, his home, but you can't take who he is when everything else is gone. And when I had nothing left but my integrity, I discovered I was richer than I'd ever been. I left the coffee shop and walked into the Brooklyn evening, past brownstones and corner stores and kids playing basketball in the street. Somewhere in the city, Vincent Moretti was in a cell, counting the years until he'd be old and forgotten. Somewhere in Queens, Sofia was learning what it meant to lose everything for a lie. And me. I was free. Finally, completely, perfectly free. I pulled out my phone and called Jake. Hey, Dad, what is up? Change of plans for tomorrow. Let's go somewhere special. Really special. I want to celebrate. Celebrate what? I smiled, the fact that I survived, and that is worth celebrating. My son laughed. You are getting weird in your old age, Dad. Maybe. But I am getting wiser too. See you tomorrow. I hung up and kept walking. The city lights were coming on now, turning Manhattan into a constellation against the dark sky. I'd lost $4 million, lost my wife, lost years of my life to a lie. But I'd gained something more valuable. I'd gained myself back. And that was priceless. 6 months after Vincent Moretti went to prison, I got another call from Rachel Chen. Marcus, you busy? Never too busy for the woman who saved my life. What is up? Remember how I said I was wife number 2? Yay! Turns out there were 8 more women after me. 8 all over the country. The FBI's been tracking them down, and they want to meet you. Why? Because you are the only husband who fought back, who didn't just roll over and accept defeat. These women want justice for themselves and their ex-husbands, but they don't know how to get it. I told them you might be willing to help. I thought about it. About all those broken men out there who'd lost everything, who were sitting in cheap apartments wondering where it all went wrong. Set up a meeting, I said. Let's see what we can do. 2 weeks later, I was standing in front of 12 people in an FBI conference room. 8 women who'd been conned by Vincent. 4 men who'd lost everything. One of the men was in his 60s, looked hollowed out. Vincent took $3 million from me, he said. My wife left with him 5 years ago. I haven't spoken to her since. I lost my business, my house. Had to declare bankruptcy. I am living with my daughter now. A woman in her 40s spoke next. He convinced me I was special, that he loved me. I betrayed my husband of 20 years for him. Vincent dumped me in Prague with nothing. My husband won't speak to me. My kids won't speak to me. I lost everything for a man who never existed. Story after story. Each one a variation of the same nightmare. When they were done, I stood up. Here is what we're going to do, I said. We're going to make sure this never happens to anyone else. We're going to create a foundation, a support network for victims of romantic fraud, legal resources, financial counseling, therapy, whatever people need to rebuild. With what money? One of the men asked. With the restitution money the FBI recovered. $18 million. It is supposed to be divided among the victims. But what if we pooled it instead? Used it to help not just us, but everyone who comes after. The room went quiet. Then Rachel stood up. I am in. One by one, they all stood. 8 women, 4 men, all victims, all survivors. We'll call it the Moretti Foundation, I said, named after the man who tried to destroy us. Every time someone sees that name and gets help, Vincent loses again. A woman in the back started crying. He took everything from me. But if we do this, maybe it meant something. Maybe I didn't suffer for nothing. I walked over to her. You didn't suffer for nothing. You survived. And now you are going to help other people survive. That is not nothing. That is everything. 1 year after that, the Moretti Foundation had helped 147 people, men and women, who'd been victims of romantic fraud. We'd provided legal support, recovered over $30 million, and put 6 more con artists behind bars. I was standing in our office in Manhattan when my phone rang. Emma, turn on the news. Channel 7. I grabbed the remote. The news anchor was talking about the foundation. Marcus Hayes, A businessman who was nearly destroyed by a con artist has turned his pain into purpose. The Moretti Foundation has become the leading resource for victims of romantic fraud. Mr. Hayes, who lost $4 million to a scam, now helps others recover their losses and their lives. They showed footage of our office, interviews with people we'd helped, and then they showed me talking about how betrayal doesn't have to be the end of your story. Emma called back, "Dad, you are famous. I don't want to be famous. I just want to help people." You are doing both. I am so proud of you. After we hung up, I sat at my desk and looked at the photo on the wall. It wasn't of Sofia, wasn't of my old life. It was of the 12 people from that first meeting. All of us standing together. Survivors. My phone buzzed. Text from an unknown number. "Mr. Hayes, my name is Patricia. I just found out my husband drained our accounts and left with another woman. I don't know what to do. A friend told me about your foundation. Can you help?" I texted back immediately. "Yes, come to our office tomorrow morning. We'll help you through this. You are not alone." Because that was the truth I'd learned the hard way. When someone betrays you, steals from you, destroys your life, you have two choices. You can let it break you, or you can let it build you into something stronger. I'd chosen the second option, and every day I helped other people make that same choice. Vincent Moretti had tried to destroy me. Instead, he'd created something he never intended. He'd created someone who fought back, someone who rebuilt, someone who turned pain into power. The foundation's phone started ringing. Another victim looking for help. I picked up Moretti Foundation. "This is Marcus. How can I help you?" And that is how every day started now. Not with regret or bitterness, but with purpose. Vincent was in prison. Sofia was rebuilding her life somewhere far from mine and me. I was exactly where I needed to be, helping other people find their way out of the darkness. Because I'd been there. I'd hit bottom. I'd lost everything. And I'd survived. And if I could survive, anyone could. That was the real victory. Not revenge, not getting my money back, but becoming the kind of person who turns tragedy into triumph, who helps instead of hurts, who builds instead of destroys. At 46 years old, I finally understood what wealth really meant. It wasn't money in the bank. It was knowing who you are when everything else is gone, and using that knowledge to light the way for others. That is what Vincent couldn't steal. That is what Sofia couldn't touch. That is what made me richer than I'd ever been. And that is why I won.